maybe it's just me, but sometimes you sit down to do a job and you're looking around because you saw something, but you need your glasses. And your glasses are nowhere to be seen. So you take this piece of paper or your phone, in my case, and you bring it up to your face because you can't actually believe what you've just seen there. And then you finally go to the other room where your glasses are on the kitchen table, but you didn't bring the phone. You put the glasses on. You come back. You pick up the phone, and it says Scott Frost has accepted a coaching job. He is coming out of, well, what Nebraska fans would call hiding, I would say, an extended absence, a very cool paid extended absence, because Nebraska fans know better than most. Scott Frost was fired by Trev Albert after a raucous tenure at Nebraska, where they paid him $15 million to go away. And I think right now, if you don't remember what Nebraska felt about Scott Frost or how it was going there, take a look at Billy Napier after losing 41-17 to Miami yesterday, and that is exactly where they were. It wasn't going to take very long, and when it happened, everybody knew it was going to happen, even as it felt like everything that could go wrong for Scott Frost was going wrong for Scott Frost. These are facts. This is not an opinion. He was fired after a 1-2 start in 2022. 52 schools changed coaches, and he didn't get a job. Went through the next hiring cycle, and he didn't get a job. And then in April, he talked to Dennis Dodd at CBS Sports and was really talking about itching to get back into the sport, but also he's got young kids. He wanted to see them, and you live in Scottsdale, Arizona, and you got $15 million to sit on your couch. You're going to have to really want to get up off your couch to go do something. And I'm curious to find out whether or not that job that he took is going to have to compensate him, or if Nebraska's still doing the buyout. Because the thing that I'm also wanting to reflect on here is Nebraska feels really good about where they are right now. They are 1-0. They have a 5-star quarterback who can absolutely sling it. And their bugaboo of turnovers and turnover margin might be a thing of the past. They're going to play a tremendously fun, exciting Colorado team in a game that I expect Nebraska to show us all who they are. And it maybe Colorado also takes this opportunity to once again show us who they are, because Colorado got off to a 2-0 start last year. Nebraska did not. Scott Frost was also a lightning rod because he transfers from Stanford to come back home to Nebraska and lead Nebraska to a national championship. The way that people talk about Charles Woodson and Michigan last year, as Michigan was on its way to winning the 2023 national championship, is the way that people talked about Scott Frost when he was the head coach at Nebraska. And he had such a clean come up. I mean, this is a dude that became known for his offensive play calling and his tremendous ability to connect with players. He's the first guy to go on the record talking about winning at a place like Central Florida, where he didn't yell at anybody because he didn't need to. The kids were hard enough on themselves. And it was kind of a wake-up moment for the rest of college football, because we're also talking about a program that was hapless. And then Scott Frost put Central Florida on a road that has led them to being a Power 4 team. Full stop. He's responsible for that. They go 13-0. They claim a share of the 2017 national championship with a Peach Bowl win against Auburn. And now Gus Malzahn, the guy that he beat at Auburn, is the head coach at Central Florida, as Central Florida's in the Big 12. Things continue to go well for Gus Malzahn. Things continue to get worse for Scott Frost, who, again, had one of the worst records as a head coach at Nebraska that we've ever seen. 16-31. I mean, we got to take it back to 57-61 with Bill Jennings for the last head coach at Nebraska to have such a horrible record. And Nebraska is a place that is made of winning. That is what they do. One of the reasons I love Nebraska is one of the reasons I love Arkansas. It's one of the reasons that I absolutely love Oklahoma. You are the pro team. There is nothing more important in football than that program in that state. And the rest of the state pulls in that direction. You will get everything that you think you need to go win football games. And yet, that's where Scott Frost was coming up short. Now, did he get 3 different presidents? Yeah. Did he have a really hard record in one-score games, like 4-21 in one-score games? Yeah. Did Nebraska feel as if at one point it was going to get better? Yeah. He's also one of the guys that was standing on the table going, we need to play football in 2020, especially after now Chicago Bears president Kevin Warren, who was the Big Ten commissioner, had said, we're canceling the football season due to the plague. And Scott Frost was adamant. We want to play. Find us somewhere to play. Find us somebody to play. He even floated leaving the Big Ten to be an independent so they could go put together their own damn schedule, because that's how important it is to play football in the state of Nebraska, not just from a competitive standpoint and how we feel on Saturdays, but from an economic standpoint. When you have programs like Oklahoma, Arkansas, Nebraska, even Ohio State fits this, even they're not the only team over there, though I like to think that they are the pro team compared to, say, the Cleveland Browns. Cincinnati Bengals, they're good. They're good. He understood that the bottom line of a lot of industries, cottage industries especially in Nebraska, had to do with Nebraska football. Like, the economic impact cannot be understated. It's why they have to win. They have built their economy around football because that's how important football has become in places that other folks call flyover states. And it's one of the reasons that I frankly take a lot of pride in doing my show from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Not a whole lot of people get an opportunity to do what I've been able to do and privileged to do at Fox, being a national college football analyst, put together a show that has more than 101,000 people subscribe to it. By the way, if you don't subscribe, please subscribe to the channel. Wild stat that I still get blown over by. 66%, excuse me, now it's 64. 64% of the people that watch this show aren't subscribed to it. Please just click the button. It means a lot to me, and it also means a lot to the bosses. Everybody likes to see that big six-figure number there, and no more decimal points for me on YouTube. It's very cool, as I've been doing this show for the entirety of my 30s, and I've been covering college football for half my life. But this is also conspicuous timing for Scott Frost, who is going to be senior offensive analyst for the Los Angeles Rams. And if somebody knows from offensive play calling, it is Sean McVay. And if Sean McVay believes that you can help him, he's going to put you on his staff. It also kind of brings to mind who could be the next play caller at Los Angeles, and that perhaps Scott Frost gets back into big-time college football coaching at some point, maybe when the buyout money runs out. But this is a great first step. It's close to his home right now in Scottsdale. I think that he's going to get his feet wet, and apparently he was visiting, according to Pete Thamel and Matt Zenitz, who first reported this news, the LA Rams last week. I'm really curious to find out how it fits for him, because a dude, like, I'm from Tulsa, which is how I enter LA. Everything is kind of all over the map for me. Like, I'm paying $2.71 for gas. I'm imagining that the prices in LA are ridiculous compared to the $2.71 that I pay for gas, but I also got Quick Trip, which is the greatest convenience store of all time, the very greatest gas station of all time, and I will fight and die on that hill. Like, I moved to Oklahoma City, and where there are a bunch of 7-Elevens in Norman, Dakota grad school, and one of the things that I was always going is, where the hell is Quick Trips? But that's a digression. There are Quick Trips in Arizona is where I was going with that, right? Life is better in Arizona, I hope, for Scott Frost. But I'll be curious to find out what you think about Scott Frost coming back into coaching, and whether, if you're a Nebraska fan, do you feel some kind of way about Scott Frost, even though he helped quarterback you to a national championship, and it's been a couple of years, literally, since you heard hide nor hair of him? Let me know in the comments below.